Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're continuing with our culture unit for the month of November. And we're talking about the monarch butterflies making their annual migration to Mexico, which coincides with the celebration of the Day of the Dead, or El Día de los Muertos, which is a popular holiday in Mexico. If you happen to be there, it would be good timing because you could celebrate alongside the Mexicans. I'm sure you would have the time of your life.
It sounds kind of fun. I haven't seen much. I've never been there to celebrate with them. Some of the things are a little weird to me, a little too kind of creepy. But you can have some fun as well. We're going to talk mainly today about the Day of the Dead. And then in the final part of today's lesson, we're going to kind of take both of those topics, monarch butterflies and Day of the Dead, and put them together and wrap up. But first, we're going to listen to Day 2 in its entirety.
Spirits on Wings, Monarch Butterflies and the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is one of the most important holidays in Mexico. Rather than being a time of sorrow, it's a vibrant celebration of life and memory. Families remember and honor loved ones who have passed away. They build elaborate altars called ofrendas and decorate them with marigold flowers, which are said to guide spirits home with their bright orange color and strong scent. Colorful sugar skulls, photographs, and the favorite foods of the deceased also play a significant role in the celebration. The cultural connection between monarch butterflies and the Day of the Dead creates a profound and mystical relationship that touches the hearts of many Mexicans. Indigenous communities especially believe that the butterflies' return is more than a coincidence. According to ancient local beliefs, these butterflies represent the spirits of ancestors returning home to visit their families during this sacred time. This remarkable link illustrates how deeply traditions can be tied to the natural world. The monarch butterfly's journey is not just a scientific wonder, it's also a spiritual symbol for millions of people. It reminds us that nature can be deeply spiritual and that cultural celebrations often have roots in Earth's rhythms. Today, the significance of preserving both monarch butterfly populations and cultural heritage has never been more urgent. By protecting these magnificent creatures and honoring these ancient traditions, we ensure that future generations can continue to witness this magical moment. The return of ancestral spirits on delicate wings bridges the gap between the natural world and human memory. Okay, let's get to it. Let's explain the contents of today's lesson and give you a few example sentences and things like that. We'll define vocabulary as we go along. So again, the title of our article is Spirits on Wings. I could say flying spirits because they're flying on the wings of monarch butterflies when they get down to Mexico, which is happening right at the time of Día de los Muertos. And the Day of the Dead is one of the most important holidays in Mexico. Okay, there are other holidays in Mexico. I think Independence Day is one, and Christmas and stuff like that. They're very important holidays in Mexico, and this one is celebrated with great gusto, as they say. And, of course, you'll have a great time if you're down there at that time. And the butterflies probably have a pretty good time when they're down there as well because, hey, they can fly into cemeteries and there'll be all these people dressed as skeletons. It will be a grand old time.
I did some reading about the Day of the Dead because I'm not that familiar with it. We have talked about it on past lessons long ago. But I found out that they actually celebrate 2 days. November 1st is the day that they kind of honor the children and the infants. It's called Día de los Angelitos, Day of the Little Souls. And then the second day is November 2nd. So this isn't according to a lunar calendar, right? It's always November 1st and November 2nd. November 2nd, they're going to dedicate to the adults and ancestors. And that's what you usually hear about is day 2. But they have day 1 where they kind of focus on the kids and the infants that passed away way too soon.
Okay, so there you have a little details or a few details of the Day of the Dead. And, of course, there are more details if you want to find out about them. Look them up on the internet. If you happen to be going to Mexico, check it out. It's probably a good time to be there. And rather than being a time of sorrow, it's a vibrant celebration of life and memory. Okay, so of course they're commemorating the dead. They're remembering the dead. So you might think it might be a somber kind of experience, okay, which means it's kind of sad, it's kind of serious. You're not supposed to laugh. You're not supposed to have fun. You're not supposed to tell jokes and things like that. So it's not a time of sorrow. It's actually a vibrant celebration of life and memory. Okay, so if something's vibrant, it has a lot of life to it. It's very energetic. Everybody's very enthusiastic. They're excited. They're having a great time. So yes, it's a vibrant celebration of life and memory. They probably got great food, great costumes, and of course, great music.
Yeah, if you're in Mexico, you're going to see a lot of bright colors. They love bright colors. They like to laugh. They like to be happy. It's not like a funeral. It is a celebration of life and just remembering people that were part of their family, the people that they love. So it is a vibrant celebration of life. So families remember and honor their loved ones who have passed away. And they do something that's kind of similar to Chinese culture here. They have elaborate or very fancy altars that they call ofrendas, I guess. Mm-hmm. An altar, which you guys know about here, it's either a raised table or it's some structure that's been built that you can use for religious or memorial purposes. You'll see these here in Taiwan, of course, where people have even altars in their home that they do bye-bye to their ancestors too. Well, they have altars there in Mexico as well, and they decorate them with a very famous flower called the marigold. My mom planted so many marigolds in Arizona when I was growing up. It's so hot there. It's hard to plant any flowers that are happy. But they're a really bright orange or yellow flower, and they're happy flowers, as I call them. But they use these flowers to honor their loved ones there in Mexico.
I guess it's part of the daisy family, so that sounds like it would be a very happy flower. Kind of that similar shape, you know, you got the middle part and you got the petals sticking out in different directions.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed, it is said, or people believe, that these flowers guide spirits home with their bright orange color and their strong scent. Scent here could also be expressed as aroma. I guess you could also say smell, but here we're talking about the scent of something. We do use the word scent to talk about the smell of, say, flowers and perfume.
Fragrance?
Again, fragrance, you could also say that as well, or aroma. Smell oftentimes is a general term, but also we use smell if it's a bad smell. Ooh, what smells? Something stinks. Something reeks. Get that thing out of here. Wash up, take a shower. You smell bad.
Or another word that you don't want to use for something that smells nice is odor. O-D-O-R. That's a bad smell. Nobody likes that.
That's a noun, though. Be careful there.
Yeah. It's a bad smell. So anyway, yeah, they smell, but they're not a nice fragrance, I would say. I don't think marigolds are like roses or what's the
tulips?
Tulips don't have a smell, Tom. No. What's the beautiful lilies? The lilies they have here.
Or lotuses.
That smell so good. Here you've got lots of bright decorations. They've got colorful sugar skulls. A skull is the bone part of your brain, right? It can look scary. It can look like Halloween, but they use them and they're made out of sugar. So they're actually fun for kids. Sometimes they lick them, but they color them. There are lots of photographs around that people have, usually of their relatives, of past times with them. And what do you always need for a celebration? You need lots of food. So they've got their favorite foods that the deceased loved to eat when they were living on Earth. Deceased is kind of a polite word for people who have died. We don't say, yeah, your dead relatives. No one says that. The deceased, or those who have passed away, those who have departed, who have left us for a time. We use different ways to talk about people who have passed away because if they're a relative or someone in your family, of course, it's going to hurt to hear someone use a word that's not too polite. So be careful with those words.
And we also got the phrase to play a role in something. That means it's a part of something. It has a role to play. You could say, 扮演角色, I think is what you would say in Chinese. And you could say play a role, or you could stick another word in there, play a big role, play a significant role, etc. Or play no role at all if that is the situation. But again, these things play a pretty big role in the celebration. You've got to have them. Otherwise, the celebration is kind of boring. And now in the next paragraph, it says, the cultural connection between monarch butterflies and the Day of the Dead creates a profound and mystical relationship that touches the hearts of many Mexicans. Okay, so again, I think they have to be living in central Mexico to be seeing those butterflies there, because if you're, say, down in Chiapas or Yucatan or places like that, they may not have the monarch butterflies there, but they're still celebrating Dia de los Muertos. But in any case, still, if you see the butterflies and you're celebrating the Day of the Dead at the same time, it will create a profound and mystical relationship. Of course, profound means deep, full of meaning, and mystical means kind of having to do with magic. It's very special. It's kind of having to do with the soul and spirits and things like that. It's not just something that has to do with everyday life.
Yeah, mystical to me means kind of magical, as you said, or otherworldly. Yeah, so it's not something you see in our world usually. It's not very practical either. It's sort of kind of, woo, kind of like that, a ghost. Indigenous, when you talk about anything that's indigenous, it's originally from a certain place. They're native to that area. Indigenous communities wouldn't be, for example, foreigners from America who moved down to Mexico. Those are not indigenous people. They have indigenous communities who especially believe that the butterfly's return is more than a coincidence. Now, they probably have religious beliefs from, long, long ago that they have included the butterfly in. So that's one of their beliefs, is that their return is not just, a coincidence. Oh, no. It was certain to happen. It's something that's part of their culture. According to an ancient local belief or beliefs, plural, these butterflies represent the spirits of ancestors returning home to visit their families during what they consider to be a very sacred time. So that celebration is actually a religious celebration for many of the people who live there. Now, when you talk about your ancestors, who are you talking about, Tom?
People in your family that lived long before you. Okay, I would not call my grandparents my ancestors, although I think technically they are. But to me, ancestors go back, maybe 5 or 6 generations or whatever, to the country or place that your family originally came from. So here they're talking about their ancestors returning home, so that when they see a monarch butterfly, they say, hey, that could be Grandpa Jose there coming back to visit. Let's be nice to that butterfly. Don't crush it accidentally. And, of course, when they're done here, they'll head back to, Nova Scotia or wherever those butterflies spend the summers. And, again, this remarkable link or this connection illustrates how deeply traditions can be tied to the natural world. Okay, I think they probably have similar things here in Taiwan, things coming back in the form of souls or whatever. And there's a sort of connection between certain animals or insects or whatever, or birds and the spiritual world or whatever. So there's this connection there. And yes, indeed, it illustrates how these traditions are tied to the natural world. So here to illustrate just serves as an example. To illustrate could mean to draw a picture to go along with something. I'm sure our article here has lots of illustrations to go along with the article, along the text, to help you understand the topic of the conversation or the topic of the essay. It could be pictures, it could be drawings or whatever, but here illustrate is being used as a verb. That just means it sort of shows us or gives us an example.
So this is an example of illustrate being both a literal verb to actually draw pictures or use a computer and come up with some sort of graphic. Or it could be, as we're using it here as a figurative way, to just explain or show something, demonstrate something, because that's used as much as it is as the literal meaning, which means to draw a picture or use a photograph even. Right now, guys, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher for a bit, and then we'll be back to continue talking about monarch butterflies and their influence on the Day of the Dead. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, 我是 Patrick. 今天讲解的是 Spirits on Wings, Monarch Butterflies and the Day of the Dead. 这是第2天的课文内容。透过第1天的内容，大家对帝王斑蝶 Monarch Butterflies 有一些基本的认识了。我们知道 Monarch Butterflies 会一代接着一代接力往南迁徙，前往墨西哥。抵达的时候差不多就是亡灵节的时间。帝王斑蝶跟亡灵节到底还有什么关联呢？今天的课文就帮我们解密了。好，我们一起来看学习重点，请同学看到第1段。前一天的课文内容讲的最后一个段落提到，帝王斑蝶抵达墨西哥中部的时间刚好差不多就是墨西哥过亡灵节的时间。而今天课文内容一开头先介绍亡灵节到底是什么样的节日，第2句先为亡灵节定调，亡灵节并不是哀戚的日子，而是 a vibrant celebration of life and memory。 好，我们可以把它解读成就是非常热闹的节庆，那大家呢会一起怀念他们往生的亲人。值得注意的是，我们看第4句，亡灵节的时候，墨西哥人会设置 elaborate altars， 就是精致的祭坛。那西班牙文呢称为 ofrendas。那后面的关系子句是非限定修饰，补充说明万寿菊装饰的作用。Marigold 鲜艳的橘色还有浓郁的气味会引领先人回家接受祭拜。好，那再来呢，请看第5句也有个重点，这边的 the deceased 表示已经过世的人。好，我们看到第2段的部分，第2段说明帝王斑蝶还有墨西哥亡灵节之间的关联。那我们看到这个句子讲到 a profound and mystical relationship， 表示这两者之间是有深刻又玄秘的关系。那再来，请同学看到第3个句子，也就是呢，在北美的原住民，他们深信先人的灵魂是会化作帝王斑蝶回到家中探视亲人的。我们可以看到逗点之后，这边说明了 These butterflies represent the spirits of ancestors。 所以在原住民的心中，他们会觉得自己的先人化作帝王斑蝶了。那再来，请看到第4个句子，这里请特别注意的是 be tied to。 好，这个动词片语请画起来，就是把什么跟什么绑在一起。那这边所讲的当然就是传统和自然界是连结在一起的。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, let's continue our discussion of the link or the coincidence or the timing of monarch butterflies and the Day of the Dead in Mexico. They are tied together because if you're celebrating Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, you're going to associate that particular celebration with the arrival of monarch butterflies. Again, they have that annual migration from the north parts of North America, from Canada, the USA, and then they fly down to Mexico during the autumn. Of course, they don't make it all the way. They have several generations kind of doing a relay race, I guess. They pass the baton, and then they eventually get back down to Mexico, and then they come back again. Although one butterfly can't fly all the way from Mexico to Canada, they have several generations do this over time. But still, it's pretty remarkable. And, of course, the Mexicans have this association between the butterflies and the spirits of their ancestors.
Right. So this journey is being described as not just a scientific wonder, something that is kind of hard to believe that happens in nature, but I think nature is filled with scientific wonders, things that are amazing that you can study, especially if you're into biology or ecology or one of the sciences out there. A lot of our listeners like science. But they also link it to something that's spiritual for them. Spiritual means connected to the soul or connected to some sort of religion, or maybe people who just believe in an inner life, that what you feel inside is just as important as what you see in the physical world. A lot of people believe in that. So spiritual can also mean religious, sacred, or divine. So they're connecting that butterfly's journey to something that's truly spiritual for them.
Exactly. And again, it's spiritual because they believe their ancestors are coming back to visit them, just like what happens here in Taiwan, I guess during Ghost Month and also during Qingmingjie. I don't know if they believe that the spirits come back during Tomb Sweeping Festival or if they're just cleaning the graves or whatever. I'm not quite sure of that one. But again, this is a spiritual symbol for millions of people in Mexico. And it reminds us that nature can be deeply spiritual. There's that word again, spiritual. Nature can be spiritual as well. And that cultural celebrations often have roots in Earth's rhythms. Okay, so of course, Earth does have rhythms, that's a rhythm, okay? And of course, some people can recognize Earth's rhythms, like water going over a waterfall or the flow of clouds over the sky or over the land or whatever, waves lapping on the ocean shore or whatever. Those are all the rhythms of the earth. And the rhythm they're talking specifically about here is that migration that happens every year. These butterflies fly down from North America down into Mexico, and that happens every year. So you could describe that as a rhythm.
Yeah, we've got all these seasons that we go through. That's another type of rhythm. Lately, I've been noticing in the news, they're talking about the energy waves of the earth and how we should get out, take off our shoes and walk on the earth so that our bodies can readjust to the earth's rhythms.
Oh, yeah, there's an energy hotspot out in Mujia, I guess, or no, Nangang? Is it Nangang?
See?
There's a park out there that supposedly has some sort of, energy center that some Dutch guy discovered or something, but that might be related to it.
My sister totally believes in that stuff. It's called grounding, and she loves to get out there and put her feet on the ground. She also got me up really early when I was on vacation to go look at the rising sun for 10 minutes, just straight on looking at it. She swears that helps us. So I love that she's into all this natural stuff, and she's in great health. So there you go. But yeah, Earth's rhythms are real, and there's something that we need to pay attention to. Today, the significance of preserving, keeping forever, both the monarch butterfly populations and cultural heritage has never been more urgent. If something's urgent, it's very important. You need to really pay attention. You can't wait on it. It's critical. It's crucial, pressing.
It certainly is. And of course, if you work for a company here in Taiwan or anywhere for that matter, you'll often see this word urgent written on documents or whatever. We need this right away. You have to give it to us before the workday is out. It's urgent. It's very important. And so, yes, indeed, we're talking about preserving the monarch butterfly population and preserving our cultural heritage. These two things are very urgent. If we don't preserve them, if we don't protect these butterflies from the threats from the environment and things like that, then these things will disappear forever and it will be very difficult to bring them back. So yes, protecting these things is very important. It's urgent. It's necessary. And by protecting these magnificent creatures and honoring these ancient traditions, we ensure that future generations can continue to witness this magical moment. Okay, so again, we're talking about these magnificent creatures. If something's magnificent, it's great, it's wonderful, it's fantastic, it's super, etc. We have lots of words for that, but that's basically what magnificent means. The word magnificent can be used if you already used the word great, fantastic, wonderful, and you need a new word so that you don't sound repetitious. So yeah, we have lots of words to use in situations like that. Just try to spread them out and use them differently in the same essay.
I use magnificent if I'm talking about something that I'm looking at, though, instead of a situation that's really great. Oh, that's fabulous, or that person's fabulous. But if something's really beautiful or grand or impressive visually, I'll use magnificent. I think of mountains and beautiful scenery as being magnificent, glorious, stunning, splendid. There are a lot of those kinds of words. I wouldn't call a friend of mine magnificent. I might say their talent is magnificent. but I wouldn't call a person magnificent. But these are really magnificent creatures, and we're trying to honor these ancient traditions. We ensure, you can say it like that too, that future generations can continue to witness this magical moment. To witness something is to see it or experience it yourself. You observe it, you see it. So, yeah, I would like to go at some point in my life. You know, we've all got a long bucket list of things we want to do before we pass away. I'd love to go down there during a nice cooler season because Mexico can be very hot and humid too. And see this. Actually, November might be a really great time to go.
Indeed, and I did want to mention, while we've been covering this article about the migration of monarch butterflies, I keep thinking, I think there's something similar here in Taiwan, too. There's a migration of butterflies from the north down to the south during the winter. I think it's the purple crow butterfly, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm also curious as to whether that migration has something cultural attached to it, if there's some kind of, say, temple festival that has to do with the arrival of those butterflies. Let me know. I think that would be very fascinating. It would be wonderful to know about. But again, we're talking about preserving these butterfly populations and this cultural tradition. They coincide, they go along together. And yes, indeed, we want to continue to witness this magical moment if you're in Mexico at that time. And the return of ancestral spirits on delicate wings bridges the gap between the natural world and human memory. So it kind of connects them together, of course. It's basically saying that, these butterflies carry the spirits of the ancestors back to Mexico for that celebration.
Yeah, we use that phrase, bridge the gap, a lot when we're talking about connecting two really different groups or ideas or even situations. And these cultural festivals can really bridge the gap between generations. Here, our author managed to bridge the gap between monarch butterflies and the Day of the Dead. We hope you enjoyed it. Right now, before we sign off, we're going to listen to our wonderful Chinese teacher one more time.
好，那再来，我们看一下第6个句子。从第5跟第6，我们就可以了解到，亡灵节其实跟自然的季节变化是有些关系的。所以我们看第6个句子 ，Cultural celebrations often have roots in Earth's rhythms。这边到底是什么意思啊？其实就是指庆典活动呢，和大自然的季节变化是息息相关的。我们从这里就可以看得到文化节庆的根源了。好，再来呢，请看到第3段的第1个句子。第3段第1个句子，这边 The significance of preserving both monarch butterfly populations and cultural heritage。我们在说保育帝王斑蝶的时候，或保护它们的生命，我们所用的动词是 preserve。那同样的，我们在讲要保存我们的传统文化，其实动词所用的呢也是 preserve。好，那再来，请同学特别注意到，到底帝王斑蝶在墨西哥人的文化里面有什么样子的文化价值呢？我们可以看到第2个句子开始By protecting these magnificent creatures and honoring these ancient traditions。 所以这2件事情其实呢是同时发生的。一方面，因为原住民认为这些帝王斑蝶就是他们祖先幻化而成的，所以当然啦，没有人会去侵害自己的祖先嘛，会去保护他们的生命，所以 protecting these magnificent creatures。 那另外一方面呢，就是很多墨西哥人呢，他们会在亡灵节当天会去设祭坛去纪念这个节日，所以这边我们用的动词是 honoring these ancient traditions。 那因此呢，透过这些活动，世世代代都会延续这一项传统，也可以看得到帝王斑蝶呢持续在墨西哥的中部都还是可以看得到的。那最后第3个句子，我们看到 The return of ancestral spirits on delicate wings。 我想提问大家，这边所指的到底是什么？ Ancestral spirits on delicate wings。 好，是真的墨西哥原住民他们的祖先都长出翅膀吗？不要忘记了，要从前文来看，因为当地的原住民相信 他们的祖先都幻化成了帝王斑蝶嘛。那斑蝶是有翅膀的，所以才会说 ancestral spirits on delicate wings。好，那因为帝王斑蝶到了墨西哥中部这件事情，所以 bridges the gap between the natural world and human memory。bridges the gap between， 请同学画起来。那我们通常都会说呢，就是作为什么样子的桥梁。这边的意思就是指呢，帝王斑蝶回到这里来，会让自然界还有人类记忆是可以衔接起来的，中间是不会有落差的。好，以上就是我们所做的中文讲解。See you next time.
All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Hopefully you've learned as much as I have about monarch butterflies and their migration to Mexico, and also about the celebration of El Dia de los Muertos. If you're down there, hey, have a great time. Enjoy some food, make some new friends and stuff like that, and enjoy the sight of the butterflies. And please join us again next time, and also check out our extra content on YouTube and Facebook. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.